Okay. I think we're a go. Make sure that's straight. All right. Welcome. My name is Vegan Stoner Lady, and I'm going to talk about the moral obligation to live vegan. It is a moral obligation to live vegan, especially if you live near a grocery store or a farmer's market. Just like it's a moral obligation to not harm your neighbor, the animals around you, like the squirrels, your neighbor's dog. Same kind of level of obligation. And I'm just here to let people know there's a way to live without harming others. So, my sign today says go vegan. And what is your moral justification to not be vegan? I'd love to see your comments. I'm going to have a little bit of a shorter live today. I have something I have to do at 10. So we're not even going to make an hour, but that's okay. And I do want to make it clear that culture does not justify harming someone else, exploiting someone else, abusing someone else. So, trying to survive is another situation. It's still not moral to take someone's life, even in a survival situation, but it's more understandable. If you live in like a food desert, I do feel for you. That's an injustice. But, you know, if you want to be vegan, you still can be vegan. There is a possibility for you to eliminate as much as possible animal exploitation and use. So there is no justification. So if you're talking about religion, there aren't, first of all, I'm pretty sure there are no religions that justify harming animals, but also I'm pretty sure that there are vegans that are Christian, so I don't think the Christian Bible requires you to consume animal parts. And the Garden of Eden was vegan, and apparently the end times will be vegan as well. God's mountain will not have evil on it. I don't know how vegans are acting in sin when the Garden of Eden was vegan, and when sin was brought into the world, supposedly, that's when people started to consume other sentient beings, according to that book. If I wasn't a carnivore, what I eat now wouldn't think twice about. Are you talking about the cows, pigs, and chickens? Because most of them are just herbivores. And pigs will only hurt a human when they are threatened or very hungry. Yep. All right, well, we'll wait for better comments to come in. But yeah, there is no moral justification to not be vegan. Animals are sentient creatures. They deserve bodily autonomy and the right to not be exploited by humans. It's unnecessary, therefore it's unjustified. So if you have access to a grocery store or a farmer's market, you have a moral obligation to live vegan. Just like you have a moral obligation to not harm your neighbors when they inconvenience you. And we left nature because survival of the fittest is unfair. Not all of us are ripped to the nines. Many of us are just regular people, and most people agree that might does not make right. I don't compare humans to animals, or at least, I guess I do compare them, right? There's nothing wrong with comparisons, but I'm not saying that I'm not saying they're exact same. I'm just saying that we're morally the same. They are the same in the ways that matter. They feel pain. They can feel joy. They don't want to be unalived unjustly, just like us. I don't care what animals would do. We are moral agents, therefore we know what's right and wrong. We have the responsibility to do what's right and not harm others and exploit them just because we can. So as far as crop deaths, there's two parts to that. One is right now with our current system, those are the tools that the farmers use, is unfortunately violence. I do believe in self-defense, but I would like those systems to be improved. Unfortunately, a lot of plant farmers are not vegan, so they don't think with a peaceful mindset. They just resort to violence because it's quick, easy, and usually cheap. If we really needed to regulate any animal population, we could do birth control or something. We could have actual conservationists trying to conserve, their populations. But I would like to focus on the moral agents here on TikTok that are choosing to unnecessarily, unjustly unalive creatures for not just their food, but also their skins and stuff, for clothing, entertainment, experiments. You don't need to supplement everything for veganism. You can eat a whole food, plant-based diet. In fact, one of my resources that I give out is called Nutrition Facts. They have a little simple guide that's called the Dailey Dozen. And it just gives you a list of all the whole foods that you should try to get in a day so that you make sure you get all the needed nutrition that you need. It even mentions how much exercise you should averagely get a day, how much water you should drink. It's pretty good. It's a nice little check-off list. Does your like for something overpower someone's entire life? Like, is it justified for you to take someone's entire future, or even just to exploit them and use them without their consent? Does that justify, doing that just for your pleasure? I mean, I think we decided a long time ago that that wasn't right to do to other humans because they feel pain and they don't want to be harmed and want to be free. Animals are no different. I don't know what you mean by human privilege. We have a responsibility as stewards, as moral agents, to not harm others. So they're actually finding that, they found our brains run on glucose. And they're thinking that because we started cooking starchy vegetables, that those and tubers, those are probably what gave us a little more of our brain, because it fed our brain, as our brain runs on glucose and not someone else's flesh. It doesn't matter about higher level. It's about recognizing the sentience in other beings and that they deserve bodily autonomy. And again, it doesn't matter how long we've been doing it, that we've been doing it forever. It doesn't matter about, our ancestors, the shape of our teeth. It doesn't matter. Today, we have all the alternatives we could ask for and more, and they're always working on making more. So we can survive and thrive without demanding animals or sentient beings be put through exploitation, abuse, and ultimately unjustly killing. So the animals in the wild, they're just surviving their harsh environments, and I don't like predation on prey animals, but I can't do anything about it, and I don't think that we're at a point in our technology to be able to intervene in natural eco-webs. But I do think that we left nature, therefore we can continue to not interfere with nature and animals and just live plant-based. We don't need to demand animals be abused and exploited for our entertainment, taste, and fashion. So if we're worried about animals overpopulating for some reason, we can always introduce some kind of birth control. We don't have to unalive animals unjustly. We disconnected from the circle of life, which is from a Disney movie, because it's unfair and unjust. You know, it's not easy to survive out there, so we left that. That's why we have rules that make things a little more fair. It's not perfect, but our goal should still be to make the world a better place. Yeah, well, since we can run on glucose, why not? Why do you have to hurt someone when you can easily just live off of plant-based foods? So it's really just, you're saying that you have a right and a choice, but what about the animal's right and choice? What does the animal want? Everyone forgets about the victim of their choices. They just think about me, me, me. You need to think about the other person that you're affecting in this situation. You're free to do whatever you want. You're free to have any culture you want, any practice, whatever. Just leave sentient beings that can't consent out of it. Out of it. Oh no. Clicked on something. Yeah, I'll let people up in a minute. I just wanted to kind of read comments for a minute, kind of warm up to the wave of people. The financial aspects of veganism. Well, if you eat a whole food plant-based diet, it's one of the cheapest diets you can. You got beans, rice, local vegetables in season, vegetables and fruits. You can even do canned vegetables and fruits, frozen vegetables and fruits, any kind of grain with some kind of legume. Plants are alive, but they're not sentient. They don't have a brain or a nervous system. They don't feel pain. They don't need to. They evolved without the need. In fact, some of them increase their attention to animals. They want animals to be drawn to them. I don't think that having to raise plants and give water to a sentient being, and then you have to consume that sentient being, how is that using resources when you could just eat the plants directly and not waste someone's entire existence just for 15 minutes of your taste pleasure? I don't think that's efficient or moral. Yeah, plants have sensors, of course. They're like a computer or a phone. They can sense things around them, but they're not sentient. Wild animals are surviving a harsh environment, and we don't model ourselves after what wild animals do because they don't have laws or morals, right? Or at least for the most part. Some of them do, but they're in such an extreme, stressful situation, they don't always tap into their morals and ethics. They just are focused on surviving. Whereas we as moral agents have left nature, we have our safe, comfy homes, and we can decide what's right and wrong. We have choices. And I'm telling you, if you have the choice to live vegan, you have a moral obligation to live vegan. Just like you have a moral obligation to not harm your neighbor when they inconvenience you or, for any reason. I doubt that you're as stressed and focused on surviving as a wild animal. No, I have facts on my side. Veganism is not a religion. We're focused on what science says, and the science has come out. Animals are sentient, plants are not. I do debates. I was just kind of starting out with just reading comments. Oh, I have facts. Yeah. Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness. The declaration was publicly proclaimed by the prominent group of neuroscientists, including Stephen Hawking, at the Francis Crick Memorial Conference on Consciousness in Human and Non-Human Animals at Churchill College, the University of Cambridge. Humans are not unique in possessing the neurological substrates that generate consciousness. Non-human animals, including all mammals and birds and other creatures like octopi, also possess these neurological substrates. Is that evidence enough for you? Cambridge Declaration on Consciousness. Go look it up. Plants are not sentient. You want some science on that? So the biggest study that I could find, plants neither possess nor require consciousness. Actually, sorry, it's a review article. But they examine all the current understandings of plant biology and neurobiology. See if I can find a spot to read to you. Plants do not possess the necessary structures such as a nervous system or brain required for consciousness or sentience. The title of that again was Plants Neither Possess Nor Require Consciousness. Of course I looked it up. I'm not going to have every study memorized for you. Do you have every study memorized? That's ridiculous. I came prepared because a lot of these people that defend animal abuse want to have some kind of scientific proof, as you should. So I'm ready this time. Yeah, I don't care what other animals do. You are a moral agent here on TikTok. You can make a choice. The Circle of Life is from a Disney movie, okay? We stepped away from nature because we thought it was unfair and hard to survive. And I think that that's okay. We've now been able to not worry so much about are we going to be eaten and focus more on what's right and wrong. And with that comes responsibility. I think that we have a responsibility to decrease the effects that we have on others if we can. Yeah, we stepped away from nature. I don't know what you want me to say alternatively. I think that we can easily leave the world alone. In fact, if we stopped using animals, we wouldn't have to grow their food anymore. We could use less ag land for them. And then, if anything, rewild it. 75% less ag land if we didn't have animal agriculture. We could rewild that, use it for solar farming, use it for giving back land to the indigenous people that we stole it from. How about that? That's a mind-blowing thought. We don't need to harm animals anymore. It's just a waste of resources, a waste of sentient life. We could be focusing on furthering, other discoveries instead of wasting all of our resources on things we don't need. Yep, I have nothing against people living in harsh environments, trying to survive those harsh environments, but if they can reduce, then they should. I am about animal rights and the abolition of animal exploitation. I think that people living in environments where they don't have access to fruits and vegetables or any kind of basic healthy food is an injustice. Can I solve that right now? I can sign petitions and stuff, and I do, but I can't do that as far as veganism. But I can tell those that have access to grocery stores and food markets to go vegan because they have the access to those resources. I do eat a lot of soy now, but there was like 5 years where I didn't eat soy because I had a misunderstanding of its safety, but it's actually, studies show that it's totally fine and that it's a myth that soy is harmful to you. Yeah, just don't eat animal flesh anymore. You can get alternatives to cow flesh. Usually I do 30 minutes, but since this is going to be a shorter live, I might do it. I might bring people up in a minute. What? I don't like that comment. I'm just going to ignore it. That doesn't matter about, just eat plants. Plants have protein. If you eat enough calories, you'll get enough protein. Let's see, where are we at? Processed foods. Just eat plants, man. Eat whatever you want. Just don't harm sentient beings. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. Just leave sentient beings that cannot consent out of it. Plants have plenty of protein. If you think they don't have enough, you haven't looked. There's an app called Chronometer. You can type in what you eat or even scan barcodes, and it'll tell you the nutritional value of what you've eaten. It's a free app. There's also Happy Cow. If you need to know the resources around you, what restaurants are vegan around you, what restaurants have vegan options, and it's a free app. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with using the internet to look up resources. That's the benefit of our time. Yeah, animals can't consent. That's what makes using them exploitative. They can't consent, just like children can't consent, right? Child labor is immoral because children can't consent to what they're doing. They don't understand the gravity of what they agree to sometimes, and that's why it's the same thing with animals. They can't consent. They don't understand. I didn't mention any other political perspectives, so I don't know what you're on about. Actually, eating plants is the best thing we can do for the environment, as we have to raise plants to feed the animals that you consume. And it would save a lot of resources if we didn't have to grow extra plants. All right, we're going to look into bringing people up. But you have to be 18 or older. If you are under 18, I will kick you immediately. All right. Hey, Joe. How old are you?
19.
What year were you born?
2005.
Okay. What's up?
So, like animals, for example, like, do you think we're more valuable than animals?
No, I wouldn't say that it's a value thing. I just recognize that they're similar in the ways that matter.
So we're equal to animals then?
No, I didn't say equal. I said we're similar in the ways that matter.
So whenever it comes to determining value, like, who would you put in front?
I mean, I would probably choose humans, as I'm in the human category, so I just have a bias of that. But as far as like, is it right to harm animals? No. Just because they're maybe less intelligent than us.
So why does it have to be based on intelligence, right? Don't humans have an innate value?
Sure. I don't know. I don't really see the difference. I guess maybe you should tell me the difference.
So honestly, like, you know, this is kind of like a bit of a sidetrack, but it's to prove the point, is that like we have an innate value, whether that be religion or not, that animals don't have because we constantly eat them. And
wait. So you're saying that because animals don't have a religion, they don't have value?
No, not because they don't have a religion, but you know, so this is a little bit, it might sound like a sidetrack, but I'm going to explain to you how basically Christianity is what makes us more valuable than animals. And it's true.
So it is that we have religion and they don't?
No, it's not that we have religion. It's that God has given us an innate value that animals don't have.
What if I don't believe in God?
So if you don't believe in God, then how do you value anything?
Oh, because I know that I feel pain and I don't like feeling pain and I want to live. And I know that animals are sentient, which means they also can feel pain. They also want to live. So I'm just recognizing that.
Because you want to live and because you feel pain, that gives you value?
Yeah.
So does that mean that a fly that wants to live and feels pain has value?
Yes.
And have you ever killed a fly? Do you kill flies on the regular?
I don't now. I used to when I didn't think of animals as sentient.
What about like living bacteria, for example?
That's not sentient.
It's not sentient. So what
Yeah.
did you say makes something sentient? Or what's
Oh,
the
so
proof for
creatures that are
sentience?
sentient usually have a brain and a nervous system so they can feel pain. They have to have some kind of organ that expresses sentience. They have to have something that actually organizes the understandings of the world, and then they have a unique expression. That's what sentience is. It's being aware of your environment and reacting uniquely. They have their own
So
thoughts. They have complex inner lives.
what about mosquitoes with deadly diseases or ants or anything of that sort?
Oh, I believe in self-defense, but I don't think that you should go out and eliminate all mosquitoes.
Even if they're out to eliminate us?
Yeah, I don't care what they want. We're moral agents. And they're not out to get us. They're just surviving. They don't go, oh, there's a human. I shall attack.
But don't we need to kill them so that they don't kill more people?
No. We can limit their numbers, but we don't need to unalive them unjustly. If you're being attacked, I think it's totally reasonable to defend yourself, but I don't think it's fair to go out and unalive someone just because you're afraid of them.
But if they're unintelligent and they can't prevent themselves from going out and spreading diseases, why shouldn't we kill them if they're going to kill humans?
I mean, we're talking about mosquitoes, so it's pretty low on that totem pole of my concerns. I just think that they're a sentient being, so you should view them as that sentient being and weigh out your options. Is it necessary that I take their entire life for your convenience? Like, what is the situation?
Wait, why are mosquitoes low on that totem pole?
Oh, I think that they're more simple in their understanding of the world, and they do have a shorter life, but I still value them. I don't want them to suffer, and I don't want to take their life unjustly.
So you're saying value, right, has to do with simple-mindedness, the ability to feel pain.
I mean, okay, I'll put it this way. If you had a burning building and you had to choose between a child and an older person, what are you going to choose? I mean, it doesn't say that you lack
That's kind
value
of a
in one or
hard
the
one.
other, right? Well, exactly.
I mean-
That's my point, is that even though you could probably make a choice and justify that choice, that doesn't mean that whoever you chose to leave in the fire, doesn't have moral worth. Doesn't mean that you can go out and exploit them. It just means that you see some reason to further save the younger person over the older person, right? Probably because the younger person has more potential to live a longer life and make better influence on the world, whereas the older person has already been alive for a while.
Okay, so
But
let's
they still both
quantify
have
this
moral
value.
worth.
I think there's definitely a way to quantify a value of a human and to say that, most humans are equal to each other. And I would say basically all of them are equal to each other. I mean, some of them are more likely
Well,
to
we're
hurt
all
others.
equal in the ways that matter, right? We all feel pain. We all want to live, and that should be enough.
Well, I don't think that does it. But let's say animals, for example. How do you quantify a cow to equaling a human?
I didn't say that they're equal. You keep saying equal. I keep saying they
Not
are
equal.
the same
Sorry.
in the ways that matter.
Let me
So
rephrase.
you're I just want to point out though, you're like making this false dichotomy that it's humans over animals, and that's not the choice. When you go to the grocery store and you're picking up animal flesh, you're not choosing between human flesh and animal flesh. You're choosing between an animal and plants. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I'm trying to say that, animals are at such a low value that it doesn't matter. That's my whole point.
Why do they not matter? What is it about them that makes them not matter?
So let me ask what I was going to ask earlier. If you were to give me a number, how many cows would equal a human?
I'm not going to play that game. I think
What
that
game?
someone's rights trump whatever you want to do to them. I think that their bodily autonomy goes over whatever you want to do to them. I don't care the numbers of creatures.
So, but you have to put some sort of value on that, right? Because if there's a fire
Why?
and you have
Why?
5 cows in the fire and 1 farmer, do you save the farmer or the 5 cows?
Again, you're making a false dichotomy. I'm talking about you choosing between plants and animals. And for some reason, you keep saying that if I choose plants, I'm harming humans. How does that make sense?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm trying to
Yes,
explain
you
to
are.
you.
Then why
No,
are you comparing humans to animals? What's the
I'm
point?
comparing humans to animals to explain to you how animals have no value.
I'm not demanding human flesh.
Okay, because
Why
here's
are
the
you
thing, right?
comparing animals to humans?
Let me get to the point where we would expand this example to such a large rate that you would have to put tens of millions of cows to equal like one human life.
You're again, dude, stop equating animals to humans. That's not the choice. That's
But you
not the
don't
choice.
understand.
That's not
Since-
the choice. You don't understand. You keep saying it has to be that humans are better than animals, therefore I can exploit them. You know, white people thought the same thing about people of color. They thought, oh, we're better, therefore I can do what I want. Your comment means nothing. It's your opinion. You just think that they're lesser because they're less intelligent. If they were as intelligent as people, you probably wouldn't have this argument.
Oh, not at all. I think it's because we're humans.
That
But
doesn't mean anything. That just means you can't mate with the other creatures. There is no moral difference between them and us. They feel pain. They're sentient. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Choosing plants or animals. Those are your options. Sentient being, not sentient being. That's what veganism is about. It's about choosing the non-sentient being because the sentient wants to live and doesn't want to feel pain. Doesn't matter if they're below humans.
Okay, so my whole point to you, right, is that don't let me talk, please. Let me finish. Please don't shout
Say
at me. I just
anything.
want to get my point across.
Your point is dumb.
I'm not there yet. I haven't even given you my whole point. So can you just give me
Please
like
get to it. I don't have that much time.
Please don't shout over me. Just let me finish my point. Okay.
It's my live. I can do what I want.
I'm asking. It's like a request.
Okay, get on with it.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to use the word that you don't like, but I'm going to get to it. That if animals are so minusculely smallly valued compared to humans, isn't it best to let humans eat animals for their own pleasure?
No,
Why not?
because animals are sentient.
But if humans get so much more pleasure out of eating
It
animals,
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They're sentient. And according to who? Exactly. According to who? Why are animals so low? Why? You tell me. Why?
because they're not near worth what humans are. A human's pleasure
Why are
is
they
worth
not
way
worth
more
more?
than a cow's
What
life.
about them makes them not worth more? What about them?
Well, they're not human, like I'm saying, and there's a
What
lot
does
of
that
different.
matter? I just told you all that means is you can't mate with them. Do you need to mate with everybody?
Okay, no, you don't need to mate with everyone.
Okay, then what is the difference?
So the difference is it's an already existing human or a human that's being created, right?
You can't
at that
even make
point.
this argument. You just keep saying because they're not human.
Right.
What
and
is special about humans that makes it so you can't harm them, but animals you can?
So I brought this up to you where you can't really have a moral standpoint for what something's worth or whether something's worth something unless
Oh,
you
wait. So I can't say that I know that this hurts and that I know nobody else enjoys feeling this. So I'm not going to cause it to other people. I can't think that.
Well, I'm saying that would give you zero value. That doesn't matter if other people feel.
What are you talking about? I don't think you understand what you're even saying. What are you talking about value? Everyone has innate value. We're here. That's enough.
You have that innate value through God, right? And God doesn't give animals the same value he gives humans.
No, I don't believe in Sky Daddy.
So
I believe that I feel pain and that I also believe in evolution. And I think that we're really closely related to these animals that we're exploiting. I think they have a nervous system that's very similar to ours. I think that they feel pain. They have the potential to feel joy. So therefore, leave them the F alone. You can survive on something else. You can eat something else. Stop eating someone.
So, yeah, I believe in evolution too, but I believe that if there's no objective standpoint on a moral or something,
I gave you one. Plants are not sentient. Animals are sentient. That is more value than a plant. Choose the plant over the animal.
Right, but neither matter. Okay, I'll give it to you.
Animals matter. You just keep
Animals-
saying they don't. That's your opinion, man. That is your opinion, and it's wrong. Animals are
What's that?
sentient. They matter.
It's not an opinion. You can say
You
that.
haven't even given a reason why animals are of less value. You have yet to answer that. All you've said is they're not human. And if you keep saying they're human, I will move on because I don't want to keep hounding the same point.
I'll give you this. Animals are more valuable than plants, but
Thank you. Yes, they are.
That separation in value isn't worth the loss of pleasure for humans. Because it's so minuscule.
Someone's pleasure trumps someone's pain. It's okay to let someone suffer as long as a human is enjoying it. So I, as a human, can kick a dog for entertainment and exercise.
So
that's moral.
Only if those things.
Can I grape an animal? Is that moral? Can I do whatever I want to an animal because they're so much less than me? Can I grape them for pleasure?
So
why not?
When you do these things, these activities are constantly shown in studies. When you're abusing and doing those things to animals, those things will be correlated to you doing those same events to other humans.
Why would they be correlated? Why? Why do people that don't have all their marbles and start harming others, and we see that in a pattern, what is it that's wrong with them doing it to animals? Why is it wrong to do it to animals? Like, if I saw a kid slashing at grass, I'm not going to think that they're psycho. But if I saw a kid slashing at an animal, I might think that. Why is that?
Right. And so I'll explain that to you. That has to do with some sort of mental disorder that you have an obsession.
No, it has to do with the animal being sentient. The reason why I, as an observer, would think that it's immoral for the child to do it to the animal is because the animal is sentient and feels pain. And it's wrong to do that to the animal. And if the kid likes that the animal doesn't like that and continues doing it, I could see a child doing that to a human, yes. But it's about the sentience of the animal.
And that's where the issue is. But farmers don't necessarily enjoy killing animals.
I don't care what the farmers like and don't like. They are still sending those animals to the slaughterhouse. Doesn't matter. You're still exploiting and unaliving them unjustly.
But that's the thing.
You can choose something else.
It is justly because
it's not justly.
The problem with killing them for fun and
do you have access to grocery stores? Do you go to grocery stores?
Yes.
Do you go to restaurants?
Yes.
Do you go to your friend's house and they make you food?
Yes.
You can live vegan, man. You don't need to harm animals. Stop making excuses to abuse animals.
But the human pleasure is worth it.
It's not. So you can justify grape for the same reason. Why can't I grape an animal?
Because once again, like I've explained, those studies that are related to killing, I don't think you should kill animals.
What if someone never ever went after a human and they only did it to animals? That has happened. There are cultures that do that, in fact.
I'm saying we should only support when the death of animals or harm of animals is helping good desires of humans or helping advance humans, rather bad desires that help us hurt each other. That's the difference.
There's no reason to exploit and harm animals, man. They're sentient beings and they feel pain. You're just saying in your opinion it's okay, but I'm telling you, can't even justify it. You can't even tell me the difference. Like, what is it in an animal that makes it okay to exploit and abuse them?
Well, it's in what
did they do to deserve that? What did they do to deserve that?
Nothing, but do they deserve anything?
I mean, they don't deserve to be harmed. They deserve to have bodily autonomy and be free of exploitation from humans. Yeah.
Why?
Because they're sentient and feel pain just like a person. Why don't we enslave people? Because they're sentient, feel pain, want to live free, have bodily autonomy.
And so what if they're sentient? Why does that matter?
They feel pain and want to live just like humans. Like, why don't we exploit humans to the extent that we do animals? Because it's immoral. Because it would harm them.
Well, I'm saying there's that value that God puts on you.
It doesn't matter, dude. You don't need to choose humans over animals. That's a false dichotomy. You keep going to that. All right. I think we're done here. You can choose plants over animals.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, you have a great day. Thank you for coming up. All right. If you're under 18, I will kick you. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay, what's up?
I talked to you a while back, and I did some.
I was gonna say I recognize you actually.
Yeah, looked into some stuff and had some good points I want to touch on with you, and maybe help find some clarification on why I can't be vegan. So I heard some of the points you made before with him. Some kind of related to some of the past stuff, but basically, when it comes to the whole hurting animals and stuff like that, is it like period, or is it just in like?
Oh, I believe in
You know,
self-defense,
those
but I
mass
don't.
those mass production stuff.
Oh no, even small-scale farming I'm against, hunting I'm against. I don't think you need to unalive animals when you don't need to. If you have
Gotcha.
access
And then,
to like a grocery store or farmer's market, you should be vegan.
Okay, gotcha. And you also made some of the arguments that, you know, plants aren't sentient, therefore we should eat plants over animals.
Yes.
And then most times vegans will kind of say plants aren't sentient, and then, you know, they'll say prove it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So what is the definition of sentient?
Oh, I have that right here. Experiencing pain, pleasure, and a range of emotions, or the Cambridge definition, the quality of being able to experience feelings.
And by your sense of understanding what feelings are feelings just I feel pain, I feel sadness, I feel anger, or is there a spectrum where a lot of them kind of merge or have a vast difference?
I mean, I don't know exactly how animals feel. I just know that they have the capacity to feel some sort of pain, pleasure, and joy.
And that's how you define them as sentient?
Yes.
Gotcha. And comparably, and there's a lot of arguments and a lot of evidence to support this, plants have been proven to be sentient because they release pheromones and they communicate through
They
sensations.
do not have a brain
And
or a
that-
central nervous system.
But you said
My phone also
sentient
makes
is
signals.
defined. You said sentient is defined by feelings, not by signals.
Yeah, they have to express those feelings. Plants
Correct.
don't
So-
have an expression.
They
They
do.
just
So if you
respond. Nope, they just
if you break a
respond to
branch,
stimuli. Nope.
no, if you break a
Nope.
branch, yeah.
Nope. Can
Mushrooms
you
have been
quote a
proven to
study?
be
Because I
sentient
have a
too
study
because they
right
have-
here. Scientific proof that plants are not sentient. It's called Plants Neither Possess Nor Require Consciousness. That's the title of it.
Gotcha. I urge you to also study, also look into and research, analyze studies that also show that plants do have consciousness,
Look,
like trees
buddy,
in
if
Amazon,
you really think that
mushrooms,
plants are
and stuff like
sentient,
that.
stop. If you think that plants are sentient or mushrooms are sentient, then you should still be vegan because we're unaliving plants at a much higher rate because animal ag exists.
Because animal what exists?
Animal agriculture exists. We have to raise their food, which is plants. So if you're concerned about plants and their welfare, we shouldn't be raising plants to feed to animals then, right? We should reduce the amount of plants we raise. In fact, if we got rid of animal agriculture, I'm sure you know this, I'm sure I said it to you, we would reduce our agricultural land use by 75%. That's fewer plants being abused. So if you believe that plants are sentient, you should still be vegan.
I understand what you're saying. I just see a
No,
lot of
I don't
holes
think
in
you
that
do, because I think you're going to
you
make
say-
another argument that plants are sentient and it doesn't matter.
No, I was
They
going to
are
go somewhere
not.
else with it. I was going to
Okay.
go somewhere else with it. Because you bring up, land usage and agricultural phenoms that,
Okay, let's
vegan
be clear though. I don't care about
Sure.
the environment. Yes, the environment is important. I don't
But you
care
just brought
though.
it up. But you just brought it up.
I what?
You just brought it up,
Oh,
though.
I brought it up. Yeah, I'm pointing out that the plants that you claim are sentient, if you care about them, a lot more of them are fed to animals. I don't care about the environment. If it was worse for the environment to go vegan, I would still encourage people to go vegan because it's immoral to enslave sentient beings for your taste, pleasure, and your fashion and your entertainment.
Okay, so on that point, does that mean you're also against having pets? Like the
Yes.
domestic companionship of animals?
Yes, I want all domesticated animals to be extinct. I want them to
Okay.
be prevented from being able to procreate, live out the rest of their lives until they're old and can't live anymore, and then no more domesticated animals, including farm animals and the animals you keep in your house.
Does that include animals that can't survive on their own?
Yes, I want them to all be fixed, and I want them to live out their lives and never
What do you
reproduce
mean by
again.
fixed? So if
I don't
we
want
see
them
an
to have
animal that's
babies.
hurt, we
I don't
go,
want
we
them
go,
to have babies. No more babies.
no more babies?
No more
What do you mean?
domesticated animal babies.
like
So
people
I don't
breeding,
want cats being
breeding
bred. I don't
animals
want
and stuff,
dogs being bred. I don't want cows being bred. I don't want chickens being bred. I don't want pigs being bred. I don't want any of them being bred. Wild animals, I don't care. But domesticated animals, I don't want them around anymore.
Okay, gotcha. So what efforts are there for vegans going against like Petco and PetSmart? Because I don't really see anything on them. It's always me buying meat. Why aren't they attacking people who have pets as well?
Oh, they are. I go into Petco and I put down leaflets. They
Okay,
use
gotcha.
animals in there. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So just to kind of clarify, you don't believe plants are sentient, and you have a study that says they aren't
I don't.
sentient.
It's not about. I was gonna
but-
say it's not just my belief. It's scientific consensus that plants are not sentient.
Well, I was going to finish and say that there are also scientists that support it as well. So it is a lot of conflictual stuff that doesn't really make sense. You say they're not sentient, but if I go look up things that support that they are sentient, what's the difference between me killing
It's
a
a
sentient
consensus
tree?
that plants are not sentient. You can maybe find a study that people are trying to find some kind of pattern in plants that looks similar to sentience, but they don't. They still don't have the organs to express sentience. And I've already been over this. If you care so much about plant welfare, you should still be vegan. So I don't know what your point is. You should still choose plants over animals. You still haven't debunked
my
that claim.
point is the immoral justification that's being brought up doesn't make sense because of the holes in it.
It
so
does.
that's
You're
why
just
I'm not
sitting there
going
going
vegan.
around in circles. Animals are sentient, plants are not, and you're like twisting yourself in a pretzel for no reason to still come to my conclusion that you should be vegan. Like, your claim does not say you shouldn't be vegan. If anything, it just says, oh, we should be more aware of our surroundings, which we should be.
There's more behind it. That was just what I brought up. There's nutritional stuff behind it. There's a lot of things that we use animal resources for
It
that
doesn't
are
matter.
away
You
from
can live vegan.
actually.
You can live vegan. You can live healthy and thrive as a vegan. And if you have access to a grocery store or farmer's market or whatever, you should be vegan as a moral obligation. Just like you don't harm your neighbor because you need some kind of resource, you don't need to harm animals. You have other
Okay, so
options.
where is this moral obligation coming from?
That they're sentient and you leave them alone. Why don't you harm your neighbor when they inconvenience you?
Well, people do harm their neighbors when they inconvenience you. There's
Is
plenty
it moral?
of evidence to that.
Is it moral?
It's not moral, but it still happens.
Okay, that's my point.
So where's the
It's
moral
immoral
obligation,
to
is what
harm
I'm saying.
animals when we don't need to.
Where's the obligation, though? Where's the obligation? Where's it coming from?
Because
Just
you don't
it's,
have to.
It's there?
You do not have to. You have to justify unaliving someone if you're gonna harm someone. You have to have a good enough justification. If you don't have a justification, you can't harm someone. Not morally. Obviously, physically you can do whatever you want, but morally you're wrong.
And that's inconsistent with how people and humans live their lives.
No, it's not. We don't
It
harm
is.
other people. No,
We
I
do.
don't chop up my neighbor for breakfast.
I mean, that's a very extreme version of it. Very few people
That's
actually
what you
do
do
that.
to animals, dude. What are you talking about? That's exactly
It's
what
not,
you do to
it's
animals.
not extreme. It's not extreme to go
Yes,
get
it
an
is.
animal
You
and eat it.
literally
No, it's not.
bleed them out and take their
It's
whole
been
life away,
thousands of years.
slice them
It's been
into
thousands of years.
pieces, and then cook them and eat them.
It's been thousands of years that we've been doing this. Thousands of years.
So what? We've also raped for thousands of years. We've unalived each other unjustly for thousands of years. We've decided that's immoral because people are
you see how
sentient.
wars are dialing back. You see how there's still crime. Now you're going into different areas.
Okay, stop. Why aren't you vegan?
I am not vegan because there's no justification to me not eating meat versus
There
eating
is,
plants.
and yes, there is. The animals are sentient and plants are not. That's all you need.
And I've told you that there are plenty of studies that say plants are sentient. And just because
Name
you say
one.
there's a study there isn't.
Name one.
I'll bring up one really fast. Give me one moment, okay?
Okay. There is no moral justification to harm sentient beings. Obviously self-defense. But I mean unjustly. There's no moral justification. Just for your taste pleasure. You can eat something else. I have it here that the scientific consensus on plant sentience is that plants do not possess consciousness or sentience in the way that animals do. While plants exhibit complex behaviors such as responding to environmental stimuli, communicating through chemical signals, and even showing forms of learning and memory, these actions generally are understood to be the result of evolved physical processes rather than conscious awareness.
I'll definitely look into that study and read up on it. The one that I have says Plant Sentience, a concept comes of age, published in Journal Trends of Plant Science in 2017. That's just the title. The study will go in and that's just the title of it.
Give me the title one more time.
Plant Sentience, a concept comes of age. So a concept comes of age.
All right.
It was published in 2017, and I think there's been funding that has backed up other areas and labs researching this as well. A lot of mushroom labs have lots of evidence that supports this as well. A bigger one is also the Amazonic jungle, and there's a lot of jungles in the African continent that support evidence that plants do communicate on sentient levels.
While this is loading, so let's say that plants are sentient. What's your point?
That is the point.
No, it's not. I'm advocating for people to eat plants and not animals. What are you advocating for?
So you said, what is your moral justification to not be vegan? That is my moral justification.
And that is
is that you're forcing me to choose between one sentient versus another sentient, and I have that choice
how
as my
about
own
the
will.
fact that I already pointed out to you that we grow so many of these sentient plants to feed the animals that you then consume? What about then? Are you not then more immoral because you're consuming more sentient beings?
No, because there's plenty to feed them and let them flourish and thrive.
But they're sentient, dude. You just went over this. So if they're sentient, you don't want to harm them. If you have to, let's say we were
the moral
carnivores,
justification I have
and we
is
had
that
to,
if I have to
you
choose
should
over
reduce how many
meat or
individuals
plants,
you have to harm.
I should have that choose. I don't understand.
No,
you said what the moral
that is
justification
not
is.
the
That is the
argument.
justification.
Guy, if you want to sit here and be confusing, that's great. But I think that you know that plants are not
confusion.
sentient.
I just gave you a study.
I think you understand that plants don't feel pain. I think you understand now that we unalive more plants to feed those animals. I think that you know that you should be vegan and you're just copping out because you think it's cool. Yep, I think so. Oh, well, hello. What a surprise.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yeah.
Good.
That guy. This is just a couple things. Plants don't have the capacity to feel pain or sentience. They don't have neurons, and they don't have nociceptors, which are things that are required to send pain signals to the brain. So plants don't have either of those things. Now, some people might say, well, they can scream. Well, that's not true. The scream you're hearing is actually caused by air bubbles that pop in a particular frequency. These are called cavitation events. So yeah, all the studies that say plants can scream, that's what they're talking about. There's no vocal cords, there's no pain in a plant. They don't have brains. They don't have the capacity to feel, think, or dream like animals can. And yeah, like you're saying, even if plants did feel pain, we're still killing way less as vegans. So therefore, it's better morally to be vegan regardless.
I did not understand his argument that just because in the world of plants being sentient, that it's then just a choice. And it's like, well, if plants are still being fed to the animals, you should still not eat the animals then and reduce your total effect on other sentient beings. It just didn't make sense. It didn't justify still hurting the animals. So
yeah,
I just didn't understand. You're welcome to stay up though if you like. I'm going to bring up another guest.
Sure.
But come and go as you please, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I don't know how to pronounce your name. How do I pronounce your name?
Alex. Yeah, I'm just
Erginer?
Alex.
Alex. Okay. How old are you, Alex?
20.
All right. What's up?
So about your point on domesticated animals, how do you feel about service animals that help people with disabilities and save lives?
I do understand that these people have a need and need help, but I don't think the animals are giving consent, so I don't think that it's fair. It's a type of enslavement to the animal.
How about human companionship? Humans who cannot
Well, again, if the animal can't
communicate
consent,
well
it's
with
still
other
some.
humans, such as people with autism or neurodivergence.
I still feel that it's animal enslavement,
Okay.
therefore immoral.
I have hay fever. I can't eat a whole lot of plants, fruits and vegetables mostly, because it scratches my mouth and makes my throat itchy, and doctors recommend that I don't eat it because it can cause a severe reaction. I'm also allergic to nuts and tree nuts.
Have you talked to a plant-based nutritionist before?
I've never talked to a plant-based nutritionist.
There's
Every
a resource.
doctor I've been to that I try to speak with a nutritionist about, like eating disorders. I have an eating disorder as well, I believe, but haven't been diagnosed because I'm quote unquote a healthy weight.
Oh, I'm sorry that you're going through that. Doctors, though, don't have a lot of education in nutrition. So it's fine to listen to what they say, but maybe also get another opinion from a nutritionist because they're professionals in diet. I do have a free resource. I don't know if you want it. It's a Challenge 22. They're just, you do a challenge of going vegan for 22 days. They think it takes 21 days to make a habit, but they provide you with free resources like a nutritionist that can help you meal plan based off of your needs.
All right. How do you feel about animal byproducts?
I don't
Eggs,
use them,
cheese,
but I don't think that they're the driving. Well, cheese is a direct product. I don't know if that's a it is from the animal. If that's what you mean.
Like
Yeah. I'm against that as well because you have to grape the cow and steal her baby in order to make her have breast milk that we then steal to put in our coffee and milk.
So how am I supposed to receive an adequate amount of protein if I can't have byproducts through veganism and I can't have nuts due to my allergy?
Well, I gave you the source Challenge 22. I don't want to give you nutrition advice because, I don't know all of your sensitivities and I don't want to hurt you. So that's why I refer you to the nutritionist so that they can give you the appropriate information. There's also, if you don't want to talk to them, there's nutritionfacts.org that has the Dailey Dozen, which is just a guideline of what foods you should eat and how much of them so that you get your needed nutrition. It's called the Dailey Dozen.
Do you know what plants specifically provide an adequate nutrition that...
Do I know? Say it again.
Do you know any plants that provide adequate amounts of nutrition such as protein? Because protein is a vital...
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's tofu, tempeh, there's nuts, there's beans, any kind of beans, canned beans, dried beans. If you eat enough calories, you'll get your needed protein. But like I said, as far as like the specifics of what you should eat, I would look at those two resources I gave you, the Challenge 22 or the Dailey Dozen.
I also don't believe in hunting for sport or hunting in general for your own abundance of food. But I also think it's more of a overeating of animals, the overproduction of animals that are...
Well, you're forgetting about the sentient being, right? Like if we were to do this to babies, right, it wouldn't be about the number of babies we're consuming. It's about the individual sentient beings. So it's not about overconsumption. It's about exploiting them at all.
All right, so what about overpopulation? If we stop killing the animals and they overpopulate, and such as New Zealand, they had over 8 million, I believe, sheep just in New Zealand alone. That's an overpopulation that causes...
Can you say it one more time? My headphone made a beep noise for some reason right as you were speaking. Say it one more time.
What about overpopulation in animals such as New Zealand with that had, I believe, over 8 million sheep? It causes an overproduction of manure, which releases a large amount of carbon dioxide into the world.
Honestly, I think that these animals, it's not common that the whole world would go vegan overnight. So sadly, it'll be just a decrease in the supply is what's going to happen. As far as those animals, the sheep, I think they should go to a sanctuary. They're there. The damage has already been done. So I would just let them die of old age on a sanctuary.
Okay. That's all I had to say. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Well, guys, I'm really sorry. This is a really short live. I'm going to hop off now. I have to go to an interview, but maybe I'll hop on again later. I do appreciate everyone coming up. Thank you, Mike, for backing me up too. It's a great surprise to see you here. So
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Well, everyone have a great vegan day, and I'll see you next time.